Today we're going to learn about the different types of evidence you can use when making an argument. No matter how you decide to approach a topic, you can agree, you can disagree, you can do something in between. You must provide evidence to support your reasoning. When you make an argument, you're going to have to take a position, and that position needs to be supported with different claims or different reasons. And then your reasons must be supported with evidence. Evidence is important because it's the way you back up your argument. It's the way that you prove what you are saying is true, or the way that you convince the audience that you are right. And evidence is usually required in most written arguments and presentations. If you were to Google evidence, you would find out that there are many different ways evidence can be classified and explained. It really all depends on what field you are studying or working in. For example, in criminal law or forensics, you would find that one of the types of evidence is physical evidence. So that's something like DNA, like blood or hair found at a crime scene. Or it could be video footage, like a security camera capturing an accident that happened. In scientific research, types of evidence could be a clinical study or an experiment. In politics and legislation, when you're making new laws, you would look for different types of evidence like data or historical events or guiding documents like the Constitution. The point is that different instructors and textbooks may explain evidence in other ways, but for the purposes of this class and our assignments, we will keep it simple and focus on 4 types of evidence. So our 4 types of evidence for arguing or persuading will be statistics, analogies, testimonials, and anecdotes. So again, there are more types of evidence than what is listed here, but these are the 4 broad main categories. The first one we'll look at are statistics. This is an analysis of data that produces numerical information. It's stating a fact in terms of a number. A speaker can use numbers to show the likelihood of something occurring or not occurring. The numbers could be presented in a statement or a chart or a graph. Statistics usually appeal to our logical side of thinking and rely on an inductive reasoning. So what does this look like? Well, imagine that you're trying to convince your parents to help you buy a car. You might try to establish that a car is safer than what you're doing now, and you're going to use numbers to prove that. For example, driving a car home from work is safer than walking. According to a report from the Active Transportation Alliance in 2008, 74% of pedestrian fatalities happen at night. Right now, because I have to walk home from work at night, I have an increased chance of being hit and killed by a vehicle. The next type of evidence we'll explore is the analogy. An analogy is a comparison between 2 things in order to clarify or explain something. It's like a straightforward version of a metaphor. You can take a fact that applies in one situation and explain that it could apply in the situation you are currently arguing. You could also use an analogy to help your reader or audience understand something that is new or unfamiliar to them by explaining how it is like or unlike that thing. For example, if you want to make a case for buying a snow machine, you could analogize the snow machine experience with riding a 4-wheeler. During the summer, we have our 4-wheelers to ride around and enjoy the outdoors. We can't ride our 4-wheeler on most trails during the winter. A snow machine would provide the same type of exploring. Another type of evidence that's popular are testimonials. You often see these types of things in commercials. A testimonial is a formal and factual statement or report about an incident, an experience, or a topic. A testimony should come from a certified person or an expert in the field. Direct quotes are typically a part of presenting this type of evidence. Providing a testimony is a way to make an ethos or credibility appeal to the reader or audience. Imagine you are a coach and you're trying to convince the Booster Club to invest in new equipment for the team. Just hearing your own ideas about it might not be enough. You need the help of experts in the field. Coach Dynamite has the most wins in our state, and he used the same equipment with his players last year. In his interview, he said, "This equipment helped my players improve their fundamental defensive skills, and our defense is what won us the tournament." Anecdotes is another type of evidence. An anecdote is a short story or personal account of an incident or experience that can be used to clarify a situation or prove a point. It's a story that the author or speaker knows from personal observation. Anecdotes can help the writer or speaker connect in both logical and emotional ways, logos and pathos, by using inductive reasoning to show how this one specific example could broadly apply to many people. It can also be a way of establishing trust or ethos so that your audience believes that you know what you are talking about. If you're arguing to increase government funding for a local pet shelter, you may share your own story about how you were reunited with your lost pet because of the shelter housing your dog. If it wasn't for the shelter taking stray dogs in, my dog might have died or ended up in a place where I couldn't find her. Now, as you move forward using statistics, analogies, testimonials, and anecdotes as part of your evidence, make sure that you research reliable sources. That means sticking to things that are produced by .orgs or institutions or published in professional resources, not just any random blog or post you find on social media. You also need to cite your evidence. So you need to make sure you say where the evidence came from. And then lastly, to be effective, you need to make sure you use a variety. You don't have to use all 4 types every time, but definitely use more than one type. Good luck with your research and with your argumentation.